Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about various pipettes, how to identify different types of pipettes, starting with RBC and WBC pipette. So this pipettes, what do you mean by pipette? It is a glass capillary pipette which is used for dilution of blood. Pipette is used to dilute the blood with a suitable fluid in an accurately known proportion. RBCs are more numerous than WBCs and therefore they require more dilution. Pipette has a long narrow stem. Here you can see this is a stem part for measuring blood. There is a bulb for diluting blood. There is a rubber tube and mouthpiece. Okay. Now we start with the parts of the pipette, starting with first part, that is stem, which is a long narrow tube and which has a capillary bore. Here inside there is a capillary bore and well grounded conical tip. This is a conical tip. It is divided in 10 equal parts. These are the gradations, markings on the stem part. And it has only two numbers. Number 1, that is marked at the middle of the stem, that is 0.5 mark. You can see here this is 0.5 mark. And other one, that is 1 at the junction of stem and bulb. Second part, that is bulb. Now the stem widens into a bulb which contains a free rolling bead. This bead is red in color in RBC pipette, whereas white in color in WBC pipette. Here you can see this is white bead and this is red bead. Okay. What are the uses of bead? One is the bead helps in mixing the blood and diluent. It also helps in quick identification at a glance, and it also gives us idea about whether the pipette is dry or not. Bead rolls freely if the pipette is dry. You can see here this is dry pipette and the bead can easily roll over. Just beyond the bulb now, you can see this is the bulb, and just beyond the bulb there is another marking, and that is 101 in RBC pipette, and at the same part in the WBC pipette the marking is 11. Next part of the pipette, that is rubber tube and a mouthpiece. Here this is a rubber tube and mouthpiece. Now the bulb, after bulb this tube narrows again into a short stem. This is a short stem which is again continuous with a long narrow soft rubber tube and bearing a mouthpiece. This mouthpiece is red in RBC pipette and white in WBC pipette. The rubber tube, it is about 25 to 30 centimeter long, and use of it is to facilitate the feeling of pipette by gentle suction. Now, what is the principal underlying use of diluting pipette? It is important to understand that numbers marked on the pipette, as we have discussed, the number marked are 0.5, 1, 101 in RBC pipette and 0.5, 1 and 11 in WBC pipette. These numbers, they do not indicate any absolute or definite amount, or you can say volume. For example, in terms of cubic millimeter or microliter, so it has no unit, which is the most common mistake made by students. These figures, they only indicate relative values in relation to each other. What it means that half the volume, for example, suppose it is 0.5, means the volume is half than the volume of 1. For example, here 1 is written, 0.5 means the volume is half than 1. 11, suppose here it is 101 for RBC pipette, 11 in WBC pipette. 101 means the volume is 101 times than 1. Okay. So this is about the principle. Now, differentiating features, as we have already discussed, let us revise. How can we differentiate RBC and WBC pipette? First and foremost, calibrations. On RBC pipette, the calibrations are 0.5, 1, 101. WBC pipette, the calibrations are 0.5, 1 and 11. Second is capillary bore, lumen diameter of the inner lumen, that is narrow in the case of RBC pipette. So it is also known as slow speed pipette. Whereas the capillary bore, inner lumen diameter, that is wider in case of WBC pipette. Therefore, the WBC pipette is also known as fast speed pipette. Another differentiating feature is bulb, which is larger in RBC pipette with a red bead, smaller with a white bead in WBC pipette. Dilution. Dilution is 0.5 raised to 100 in case of RBC pipette, because we are filling the pipette with a blood up to 0.5 mark and 101 up to 101 with a diluting fluid. So the dilution is 0.5 raised to 100, or you can say 1 raised to 200, or we can also make the dilution 1 raised to 100. How? We can fill the pipette with a blood up to 1 mark and fluid up to 101 mark. So the dilution would be 1 raised to 100. Whereas in case of WBC pipette, the dilution is 0.5 raised to 11, or you can say 1 raised to 20. Why 1 raised to 20, not 1 raised to 22? Because the stem part, the fluid present in the stem, it doesn't participate, doesn't take part in dilution. Or you can say that this stem part only acts as the feeling, for feeling the pipette. It is not taking part in the dilution. Another differentiating feature is, as we have discussed, that is mouthpiece, which is red in case of RBC pipette and white in case of WBC pipette. Now, other uses of this pipette. RBC pipette, it is also used for counting platelets. WBCs, in case of leukemia, when WBC count is very high, so we require more dilution. Also, it is used for the spermatozoa counting in semen. WBC pipette, other uses are also used for counting RBC in case of severe anemia. Also for platelet count, sperm count and bacteria count. Okay, so this is about RBC and WBC pipette. Third one, that is hemoglobin pipette. Here it is easy to differentiate hemoglobin pipette because it has no bulb. It has only one mark up to which you have to suck the blood. It is a pipette, so it has same characteristics. It is capillary glass tube having a capillary bore. There is a lumen inside it, but it has only one marking up to which we have to suck the blood and transfer it into the square tube. Here the marking is only one, and that is 20 microliter. So this is about hemoglobin pipette. That's all. Thank you. Thanks for watching.